everybody. Welcome back once again to the RetroGameFix.com Retro Jones podcast number 82. This is your host, Mitch.
And this is Mike.
Here we are once again in podcast number 82. What's going on, Mike?
Not a lot, man. It's hanging out. I hate to say it, but I went for a walk with the kid, and I played Pokemon.
Oh, damn. Really?
Yeah.
You fell for it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm not...
No, I'm kidding.
Let me put it this way. I'm not playing Pokemon.
Uh-huh.
I played Pokemon.
I don't follow.
I don't plan on... I'm not going to keep playing it.
Oh, I see. It was past tense then.
Yeah,
it's not current.
No, yeah. I mean, we went for...
What did you think? Go ahead.
I can see how people like the collecting aspect. If you want to go for a walk, it gives you something to do. It's the collecting thing. I can see it. I can understand it a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I gotcha.
It is what it is, but I'm not going to keep playing it.
Well, it's funny. I talked to my buddy Art, and Art's one of my really good friends and all that stuff, but he's kind of like not very excitable and stuff like sometimes it seems like it. But his wife is not very excitable is what I mean to say. And his wife's name is Doris. And he's like, oh, yeah, Doris got into the Pokemon Go. And apparently there's Pokemon in our area or something like that. And then he's like, oh, I'm talking to him on the phone. He's like, oh, wait. He's like, apparently a Pokemon like flew in our house or something like that. I'm like, what? How did she's like 45? I'm like, are you serious? I guess it's one of those things that I know it's easy to probably like get addicted to and shit like that. It's just I've got like, and no offense because I know probably a lot of our listeners are playing it and stuff like that. And if it's for you, that's awesome. But I'm totally like, there are so many things in my life that could totally potentially like waste my entire life. And I think I do a pretty good job of wasting my life the way it is. But
hold on. I got to catch this Pokemon quick. Hold on.
Uh-huh. Yep. Did one just fly into your house?
No, I did turn
your daughter's bedroom.
I did turn the app on though, but no, there is no Pokemons in my house right now.
God, that's just weird, man. I mean, it's interesting. It's an interesting concept, and I get it. I do, but again, it's like Facebook and shit. Like, I have so many ways that I waste my life currently that like I don't need any help with that.
I'm telling you though, if you take Johnny for a walk,
yeah.
Download it and turn on Pokemon Go, you might get addicted because you're already out for a walk.
Yeah. Well, the problem is it's been like 97 to 104 degrees out like the last month.
Yeah, you can't do it then.
No. I'm too busy. Like there's sweat in my eyes constantly, so I can't see anything anyways. So
when it gets hot out, so we just got done with a little bit of a heat wave last week in Minnesota where it was, upper 90s.
Everybody
everybody kind of got hit with it. Yeah, it's the worst. You walk outside and it's like immediate swass.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my God, dude.
That's the worst part about it. It's just like immediate swass. Like this is uncomfortable. I don't want to sit in my car. I don't want to walk. Anyway, so that happened. That's about it, though. I mean, I played a little bit of Destiny. I tried playing Sonic 1 again. I'm not very good at Sonic 1, same as I wasn't very good at Sonic 1 last time.
Yeah.
So that's about it.
Right on, man. Well, I've been busy this last week, and in fact, I was just talking about it before we got on the podcast here today. Did all of this stuff happen in the last week since the last podcast? And I think we came to the conclusion that it must have, I guess, right?
Yeah, it did. Yeah. So all the pinball stuff.
Yeah, and I've been going on about pinball stuff. I always get like super excited about I'm like one thing at a time. I'm like, I'm really excited about this. Now I'm really excited about this. Well, pinball is it for me right now. I've got the fever currently, and
well, cowbell, you've got the fever.
I put my pants on one leg at a time like the rest of everybody else. Bruce Dickinson. But anyway, so I call Mike up like, God, I don't even know when, like sometime last week. And I'm like, okay, well, I put my Tron, I've been talking about kind of getting rid of my Tron. I don't, I like Tron. I like the cabinet of Tron. It's freaking beautiful. But I think it's kind of time I've been talking about lately. I guess ever since the Southern Fried Game Room Expo, this last year, really had the pinball bug, and I really just kind of had the revelation that I need to kind of freshen up my game room. Right? I had 19 games, and some of the games were cool to have, but I played them a million times, and they kind of get old after a while. So I decided to list my Tron and see what would come up. I put $2,200 as the price, and I'm like, I'm thinking, I'll get 18 for it or something. That'll be fine. And I got to say this before I go on. I kind of wish I would have put it higher, because I got a pretty good response on all of it, and I had actually put up, I think on last Tuesday, I'm available for trade as well. I'm really interested in some pinball trades. What do y'all have? And I got a guy, super nice guy. Right. But some guy from Alabama who was like, oh, I've got a bunch of EMs, which is electromechanical, and solid state pins, which, it's computerized, early 80s. And I kind of emailed him back. I was like, I don't know if I'm really interested in, any of those things for a trade for my Tron. I'm more looking for Williams System 11 and up. And I can add cash if you got something I really, really want. So he comes back. I was like, but I'm interested in, what you have. And he sent me a big list. He had 25, 30 pins. And it was interesting. I was like a couple of them that I'd seen on there. I saw a Matahari, which is really one of my favorite, early solid state pins. There was a Playboy, 1978 Playboy, which is super cool. It's the only Playboy that I actually give a crap about out of the four that are out there. And Comet was up there too. And I was like, I like all three of these games, but I don't see myself trading my Tron for any one of them, because none of them are worth as that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, anyways, he was like, well, I've got this KISS pinball too. And, I could be quoted. You could probably look back a couple of episodes, and we actually discussed the KISS pinball machines, both the new and the old one, right? And what did we say about that? We said it sucks, right?
Yeah.
It's terrible. But the old 1978 KISS pinball is worth some money. It is worth some money if it's in the right condition, because KISS collectors, it's like the crown jewel.
Yeah, they want it. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued not because I want the KISS pinball, because it's terrible. Everybody I've talked to, KISS fan or not, has just been like, I was really disappointed with that game because it sucks. It is eye candy though. It looks beautiful. It's amazing. So I had thrown an email back, and I was like, I'm interested in the KISS, but to be honest with you, the pinball kind of sucks, and it's really hard to get excited for trading my Tron away for a KISS pinball. And I was like, would you throw one of the other pinball machines in that I had mentioned, which were the Playboy, the Matahari, or the Comet? And I like all three of them. So he comes back and he's like, yeah, I'll throw in the Playboy. And I'm like, sweet, awesome. That sounds amazing. So then a couple of things, he's like, they're both kind of projects. And I'm kind of like, okay. I look on CPR. I've talked about CPR a lot too, classic playfield reproductions. And they have had, they do like the playfields, the new playfields, and sometimes plastics and backglasses and stuff. Both of them were on the, to be, eventually they would show up in the queue within the next year or so. So I was like, okay, well, I could squat on them and restore them, re-stencil everything, swap out the playfield plastics if they have back glasses and stuff like that. I was like, the KISS would be worth a fortune at that point. The Playboy would be worth a decent amount if it was fully restored like that too. So I'm like, maybe I'll play the long game and just squat on them for a while. And I came so close. I was talking to you a lot about this. I was like, damn. I was like, in the long run, I could come out pretty sweet on this. And it got to the last day. I think it was last Saturday, where I was like, emailed the guy. I was like, all right, man, I think I'm ready to do a deal. But let me sit on this for tonight. Let me sleep on this. And think about if this is what I really want to do, and I welcome you to do the same thing. So guy's like, okay, yeah, awesome, fine. And I'm pretty much sure I'm going to do it at this point, right? And then what happens? And then a buddy sends me a picture of like what he picked up today, and he picked up an Addams Family, which Addams Family, I have great respect for the machine, but it's not one of my personal favorites. It's not like one of my grails, but one of my grails was on there, a part of his deal, which was a Williams Funhouse, right? And you played Funhouse, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Funhouse is amazing. And it's one of those things where it's one of my grails. If I find a Funhouse, I have to have it, you know. Someday I will own one at some point. So my buddy was like, I just picked up both these pinball machines. I was like, are you keeping both of them? And, you know, I'm not telling him this or that. And he's like, yeah, I'm keeping the Addams Family, but not the Funhouse, probably. And I was like, okay, well, how much do you want? And he's waiting on he like doesn't tell me the answer, and still like he's like, I don't know, I'm thinking. He's still thinking about it, so I'm guessing he probably never picked it up in the first place. Probably, or I don't know what the hell, to be honest. But it's not about that, because my brain started whirring all these rusty gears in my head, and I'm like, do I really want to make this trade for 2 pinballs? I kind of like the Playboy one, but I don't give a crap about the Kiss one. You know, I'm like, well, I don't really give a crap about the Tron, so I could justify doing it that way. Or, you know, I had some cash offers too for my Tron. Do I just, build up the money, and do I just buy like a Funhouse I was excited about? I was like instantly excited about, you know? I'm like going online, checking out videos and stuff, refreshing my memory, because I love the gameplay. It's an amazing too. We'll talk about that in just a second. But anyways, the wheel of doubt starts to turn, and in the middle of the night, I wake up. I'm like, I'm not going to do this trade. And I wake up in the morning. I'm like talking to my wife. I'm like, and I'm saying this for me. I'm not saying that I can't do this trade. It's just that I'm having second thoughts. Maybe I'm having cold feet, right? So, anyways, as it turns out, not really contingent on buying the Funhouse. I don't really care. I would like a Funhouse, but if that doesn't exist or doesn't work out, I don't really care. But I had decided just to go ahead and sell my Tron. So next day, which was Sunday, dude comes down from Birmingham, Alabama, which is like a 2.5-hour drive, and picks up my Tron for $2,200. So now I have $2,200 and growing. I sold my Missile Command too for $600. So I have $2,800 right now that I'm kind of storing up to buy one or multiple awesome pinball machines that I'm actually excited about. I don't want crap that like is collectible anymore. You know, I've had those games that like Thayer's Quest that like nobody has except for me at the time, right? But the game's fucking terrible. So anyway, long story even longer, like we always say. That was my man-sized predicament, as I put it to Mike, and it didn't seem like a man-sized predicament at first. It seemed like a slam dunk, but it did turn out to be a big one.
Yeah,
right?
Well, at some point, you want games that you can play instead of games that you're just always fixing. Yeah, and so even as good of a deal as it may have turned out in the long run. At some point I understand it. You go, I kind of want some instant gratification here, and picking up 2 pinballs that are going to take a ton of time, a ton of work, a ton of money, a ton of investment. Then you got to turn around and try to sell those. Like the process as a whole just at some point isn't worth it when you can go, or I can just take the cash and go buy something I can play now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of where I'm at on this whole thing too. 'Cause like, here's the thing, and here's the thing too, because like when you get a big wad of cash like this, what do you want to go to do? You want to just instant gratification. That's another one of my problems. Let me segue into that real quick, because this is a conversation in itself. If you all of a sudden sold off a couple things, you're really interested in buying pinballs, you got $2,800 in your pocket, what do you instantly want to go and do?
Buy stuff.
That's what I want to do right now. And one thing I've kind of learned here, and I know anybody that's into pinballs out there right now can attest to. It doesn't matter if I had 8 times that amount. If I had whatever that comes out to. To be honest, I didn't do the math. Over $20,000 or whatever. It doesn't matter if you have all the money in the world if the pinball that you want is not available, right? It's not like
exactly.
It's not like they have the Ghostbusters they still manufacture, and I'm still kind of kicking around that idea. But the problem is I want a fun house, and I don't know anybody that has a fun house available, Or I've thought of about 6 or 7 other games that I'm like, I really want that. I have the money for it, but if nobody has them available, what's the fucking point? Well, it's not what's the point. My point is on this is that Mad Planets is going next in 3 more weeks, so I'll have another $2,500 on top of that. So I'll have like $5,300 to buy just a badass pinball or 3, and I don't see anything that I want right now. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
It's a good problem to have. I'm not, but my challenge here, and this is a challenge that I think we both struggle with every once in a while, is can I just be patient and wait for the ones that I want? Like maybe I just write them down. These 6 pinballs right here, I would totally bend for these, and just wait for something to pop up, So, I kind of kicked it around because the reason I bring that up too is yesterday when this guy came and bought my Missile Command, he has a South Park pinball also, which is, I love the South Park pinball. I think it's great, and I could have totally had him just bring it along with him, but I'm trying to exercise some kind of restraint and some kind of like, so just some kind of restraint just to make sure I get exactly. Because the thing is, look, it's great that I have all these machines. I still have a ton of machines. I still have getting rid of those 2. I still have 17 machines in my house. So it's like I can keep selling them and stuff like that. If I want more pinballs, I can still keep kind of recycling some of my machines and all that, and then trading out some of the pins later on when they get dull. But again, I need to just be patient and make sure that I get what I can get, because it would be a slam dunk. If I wanted a Ghostbusters, I can get a Ghostbusters, But I don't know if I want to spend that, that big of an amount on one pinball. Maybe I want 3 of them, Maybe I can find 3 Williams System 11 machines, and I'd be pretty happy with that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you never know what's going to pop up.
Somebody actually has a F-14 and a Pinbot, like F-14 Tomcat and a Pinbot, and they're in West Virginia, and they needed somebody to pick them up between the 1st and the 5th of August. And I was like, for like $2,600, and I was like, oh my God, I totally want that deal. And the guy was even like, I'm flexible on the price too. But the problem is he needs them picked up by then, and like I have no way of getting there. So yeah, I emailed him and I was like, there's a freight company and Naval, which is North American Van Lines. I was like, if I get a quote from them and have them pick it up.
Could you do that? Yeah.
Could I do it? And the guy had said, I kind of told everybody no shipping, but if it's through Naval, I could probably do it. But I've got somebody that's already committed to it. If he flakes out on the 1st, you're second in line. So I would be super, super happy with that, because then I'd get 2 kick-ass System 11 Williams pinball machines. Pinbot is a grail of mine. You know that. And I've had one, and I stupidly got rid of it. There's my opportunity right there. F-14's a great game. I've got a buddy down the road that has one. They both work perfectly, and they're not projects, which is great. If I had spent $3,000 on that, I would still have plenty more money coming, because there's a couple other odds and ends that I'm getting rid of as far as just to clear some space in my house. But damn, dude, I could be rolling in some pinball machines here at some point. I kind of what would you do? Would you go for one just fucking kick-ass title, or would you get 3 awesome titles?
I would probably get 3, to be honest.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too.
It depends what they are, but I'd rather have a high speed, a Pinbot, and something else than a
Ghostbusters.
Then a Ghostbusters, I guess, would be a good example. Yeah.
There are 2 exceptions on my list right now. Tales of the Arabian Nights. And the problem is, again, I've brought this up before, and I'm sure there are plenty of people. You can attest to this in probably anything. When you got the money, sometimes the shit's not available, and sometimes when you don't have the, most of the time when you don't have the money for it, stuff's available.
That's how it works. And
it kills me because Tales of the Arabian Nights was like $5,000 a year ago, and now it's like $6,500 to $7,000. I'm like, what the hell? So it's the thing with the long game with the Kiss and the Playboy. If I waited a year or so, it's like shit. All that extra money I would have made on that, I'm going to be spending on the same pinballs that I could be buying right now if this bubble continues to grow, you know? So that's kind of frustrating. But I totally get a Medieval Madness. I feasibly could get it too, you know? So that's one that I know when they stop making that, the price is going to jettison. A couple of years later, the price is going to jettison up to like over $10,000. So this is my one chance possibly of ever owning either a Tales of the Arabian Nights or a Medieval Madness. But Medieval Madness is like $8,000 machine right now. So for the remake. But anyway, so again, I'm super jacked about playing pinball. I love it right now. That's kind of where my passion is at the moment. And, you know, everybody that's been listening to our podcast at any time knows our passions kind of move around as far as that goes. But, I mean, that's why it's fun to do a podcast, too. We can just talk about it, and it's exciting. I think so. So anybody out there, I mean, just throw it up on Twitter. What do you got as far as pinballs go? If any of you guys are pinball players up there, what's your favorite machine? What's your grail machine that you would probably go to? So let's say you're in my situation right now. What do you do? What are you looking for? So anyway, yeah, that's pretty much my week in a nutshell. I'd pretty much been obsessed with the idea of this entire thing, you know?
Real quick, I'm just going to throw a jackass Craigslist poster of the week out there.
Go for it. I love it.
There's there's a few local amusement shops in the greater Twin Cities metro. One has a Donkey Kong that is a 60-in-1. It appears to have an LCD in it.
Okay.
Let me read you this.
Yes.
We have in stock a 60-in-1 Donkey Kong replica. This is a replica of the original Donkey Kong. These are $4,000 brand new and hard to find.
Wow, dude, they must be amazing. That's insane. That's absolutely
and they're only
insane.
selling theirs for $2,000.
Really? Wow, what a deal. I'm pretty sure you can get them. That's the thing, is that they're so saturated. Craigslist is so saturated with them right now, and there's nothing wrong with the 60-in-1 if that's what you want to play. Awesome.
Absolutely nothing wrong with the 60-in-1. The difference being that people are fine. You find these arcade caps for $150, put another $150 into it, and then mark it up $2,000. I mean, a 60-in-1 does not take a lot of work to build.
No, you could probably put one together in like a day. I
mean, more or less, I don't even know if I'm really scoffing at the $2,000 price tag. Look, if it's well put together and restored and it looks great and it's mint, that's fine.
Or if it's a new cabinet, like
that's fine too. But I just love these are $4,000 brand new and hard. From where? And hard to find. Like, they're not hard to find. I just Craigslisted 60-in-1s, and there's like 4 Donkey Kong 60-in-1s on Craigslist right now. They're not hard to find.
I'm going to look it up right now. Okay, Multicade. I put up Multicade. I've got Multicade 60-game arcade game, $1,200. There's one for $21.95.
My Multicade search returned 31 results.
Where do you see that? Oh, I've got 25 results. Oh. So I don't think they're very hard to find.
No, they're not hard to find. No.
But anyways, yeah, I mean, again, I don't care. The thing is, like, in my arcade, I've got my Repro Pac-Man cabinet that's re-stenciled and everything. It's beautiful. And I threw an arcade shop board in there with, I mean, it's got, like, however many games I put on there. I love it. I mean, people love that. People are always on that when we have people over to our house.
No, 16-1s are great. I mean, I'm going to finish mine eventually, but it's just I just thought the hard to find $4,000 is a little bit ridiculous, especially considering there is some guy that does custom ones here locally. I don't know if he cuts them himself, but he actually custom paints them with, Vikings, Timberwolves, Packers, like really, really nice custom paint jobs. And he does the cocktails and the stand-ups, and he just sells his for $2,000, which for those, they're fucking ridiculous looking. But this one's just like, come on, man, don't put the $4,000 thing in there.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, yeah, okay. Eventually, like stupid, like people, not stupid people, but people who don't know as much. Like, the first time I ever looked on Craigslist, where I had the idea, I was like, ding, 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 arcade games, like awesome. I forgot about those. I could actually buy them now. I was totally like, oh my God, there's like an Arch Rivals for $100, or there's like this and that. Like. I didn't know what stuff was worth at that point. If somebody would have told me that normally they go for $4,000, I probably would have believed them,
Well, right. Other than you can
until I looked down 25 other over 25 other posts that were like as low as $700.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
But anyway, the only gripe I have with the 60-in-1 is the front end for the board is
the front end is garbage. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So therefore, the only difference between that and the arcade shop board that I have, of course, they haven't sold them for years, but it's programmable. And guess how it is programmable? If you have a computer that hooks up to it, guess how it hooks up to your computer? I'll give you 2 guesses.
USB.
No.
I don't know.
Serial port.
Cereal?
For cereal? Yeah, serial port. It's horrible.
I don't know. I can't connect that to my PC.
I don't think anybody that has a PC that was made in the last 20 years could connect that to their PC. The funny thing was, this board was not 20 years old. I think they stopped selling them in like 2009 or something. But of course, I ended up buying several USB to serial or serial to USB connectors, and a couple of them didn't work. And I finally landed on one that actually works, so I was able to program the stupid board. And it's awesome. The front end is top of the line on this board, but it just sucks that they have a serial port. They have a new version of it now, which is like $400, but like. I'm not going to spend $400 on that. Sorry. No. So, nope. I mean, it still emulates the same games. So, or I guess it does more. I don't even care. But anyway, so 16-1s. Nothing wrong with them.
No, yeah, totally not. I wasn't ripping on it. Like I said, it was just I'm building one, but it's just like I just hate it when I see stuff that like these are $4,000, and it's like no, they're not.
Yeah, exactly. One another note, I was going to say this too. This just reminded me when I was talking about the Playboy and the Kiss pinballs. The Playboy, because it's like a 40-year-old pin almost. It's like 2 years away from being a 40-year-old pin. Playfield was beat up, as most of them are. So I was thinking about I was reading this great article on papa.org about airbrushing, like touching up playfields and stuff like that, and kind of what paints to use. And you could get a cheap airbrush from like Harbor Freight for like $20 or something that you can hook up to a pancake air compressor or whatever. I'm totally intrigued by that now. That was actually one of the, as stupid as it sounds, through that whole fucking man-sized predicament that I had, that was like the part that I was most excited about. I was like, it's a perfect candidate to like just try, and then I can just bring it down to an auto body shop and have them clear it once everything's done. But that is so cool, because the thing is, I always thought like mixing colors, I felt like that would be the hard part, like how do I get this shade of blue, or how do I get this shade of yellow? Because most of the acrylic paints, I tried it with like these crappy acrylic paints that my wife had one time, just trying to mix them to see if I could get anywhere close, and then it just turns brown. Everything turns brown, no matter what. But apparently they don't have true pigments or something like that. So there are certain paints called Createx, which are true pigments. So they actually mix quite well, and they're actually pretty easy to color match. And then while you're using the airbrush, you pretty much use this kind of tape that is almost like a you can see through it, like you can trace what you need, like with the utility knife, and just cut out the areas that you want so you don't overspray.
Right.
But once you tear off the tape after you sprayed, if you're not happy with it, you just get some water on a paper towel and just wipe it off. It doesn't actually cure until you use a heat gun on it. So it's like extremely forgiving too. So I'm really, really interested in possibly giving that a look at some point. I don't have any play fields that, like the Flash Gordon, I'm still going to send that off to HSA Pinball because that shit looks dope as hell, But I definitely am interested in trying my hand at it. I mean, it doesn't seem like you have to be like I mean, if you're anal about stuff like lines and all that stuff, which I am, I could do that. I don't know if I could freehand any of this stuff, but you don't need to. It's more like a tracing thing or something like that. So I think that might be something I might be getting into at some point. I can totally see it. So anyway, so tell me a little. I've been talking the entire time. My bad. Mike, what else has been going on with you? What you been playing lately?
I mean, like I said earlier, I played a little bit of Destiny. You know what? Actually, I want to talk a little bit about. So we were talking about the Vita. You picked up a Vita.
I did.
And I'm still keeping an eye on some of the Vita games, and I haven't picked anything up lately, but it dawned on me. So we had talked about Retro City Rampage DX that got released on the Vita, and it's now like $100 Vita game.
Yeah.
And so I've been looking at it going like, I got to be able to find one of these on like Craigslist or something at some point.
Right.
Or somebody doesn't know what they have. But you know what's funny? I was thinking about it. I remember seeing this game on like the shelf at GameStop multiple times when they first released it, I'm pretty sure, or Target somewhere.
Yeah.
And being like, they released that. And then I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't understand why this, of all the games that were digital only that then later get a physical copy, why this of all of them is the one that cost so much damn money. I
don't know. Was there like a limited release or something like that?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I think they were limited, but I don't know. Maybe I guess I could be wrong, but unless it was like a Kickstarter only thing, but I could swear that I saw them places.
It might be, because if you look, I actually I pulled it up here. Like the PS4, there's a PS4 version of it. I guess they were like 1,000.
They re-released that.
It's like $200 right now.
They did another print on that. They here's one from August 2nd, 2015 on the Sony store that says they I
think this is the first run though.
Yeah, here we go. If you heard blah 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 blah. Yeah, here's a link to the PS Vita retail version. So anyway, I'm pretty sure I saw that on shelves places. But it was limited. Maybe I didn't see it at any stores.
Well, that's the thing right now too, is that
I swear I saw it at stores though. I swear I did, but maybe not.
It's kind of one of those that I thought of this too when I first got my Vita, not too long ago. I love my Vita. I've been playing Final Fantasy X, the Final Fantasy X remake on it, which is pretty fantastic. But it's $100 right now. In a couple of years, it's going to be like unobtainium. It's
what
like
is?
Totally the Retro City Rampage on Vita.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
Like $100 right now. So I'm kind of like, do I spend $100 on it right now? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so it wasn't in stores. Okay, so I don't know what the hell I saw. They did a 3,330 unit printing that they sold on their website. So that's where you could get it. So there's only 3,330 of these things in the wild.
Right.
So
interesting. Are you going to buy one? It's hard to justify dropping $100 on one right now, right?
No, I mean, yes and no. It's cool.
I could think of many other things I'd rather drop $100.
This goes back to our conversation last week where it's like, I'm like, I don't really want to spend $100 on that, and then like I'll buy, a $600 pair of headphones, right? It's just one of those things where I go like,
Oh yeah, we had that exact same conversation.
Like,
I'm like, you're like, join PlayStation or PlayStation Network, and I was like, $50. I don't know. And then I'm like spending $2,000 on an arcade machine or some shit.
So I'm checking sold listings on eBay right now, and there are some as low as, so in June and a couple in July went as low as $75, $80. I don't know if I could do 100. I would spend 75 on it.
Yeah.
I'd maybe spend 100 on it. That's about as high as I would go, though.
Well, the thing is, if you don't pay for it now, you're going to pay for it later. You've got a pretty extensive Vita collection right now.
I do, and that's kind of the one that I would. That's kind of that cornerstone.
It's the one that's gonna fuck you the hardest in the end if you don't get it now.
It is, yeah, you're right. Yeah, 100. Yeah, I don't know. You know what? Maybe I will pull the trigger. We'll see.
It's always easy to spend your money for me at least. I always
we'll
say
see.
that.
If you know what though, if I get that, I'm going to get a sealed copy and actually not open that sealed copy.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking because I
have it digital and it's a great game. It's just I'm not gonna.
Yeah, no, I played it, beat it on PlayStation 3. I've got it on. There was a Humble Bundle that I got it on the 3DS for a while ago. It's the same thing, I think. So yeah, I would keep it sealed. I would just keep it sealed. If I'm going to spend $100 on it, keep it sealed.
Yeah. So anyway, that kind of bubbled up. A couple other things. I ripped my racing pedals apart again.
On purpose?
Yes, on purpose. Yeah. So if you haven't checked it out on youtube.com/RetroGameFix, if you're into sim racing, I've got a pretty robust cockpit.
Yep.
And I put up a video that has a ton of views about how to mod the T3PA Pro Thrustmaster pedals because the accelerator pedal just does not have enough resistance on it to actually feel like a gas pedal. So I did a video on how to add another spring and all this other stuff. Well, anyway, when I originally did it, I didn't put a top washer in place to hold the outer spring. So essentially you have the spring that came with it, and then I bought another spring that goes around the stock spring, and I didn't put a washer on top to keep those two springs from touching. So sometimes when you compress the springs, they click together and kind of lock together and made some noise. So I ripped those apart and fixed that. But now I'm back to the point where I'm going like, maybe I should just take out that second spring completely and just run the one spring. So I'm not sure yet, but they're easy enough to take apart and put back together. So it's kind of a fun little meta hobby within the racing community is kind of modding your shit to personalize it. So
what have you been playing as far as racing games go?
Nothing. I did all that, and then I didn't end up playing anything. I do want to get back into Forza 6. That was kind of my primary. So here's what ended up happening.
What's that?
I ordered parts for the Mustang, and so the real car Mustang, 70 Mustang that I own. And so I got all gung-ho about racing it. And so in Forza, I actually have a 70 Mustang Boss. And I was like, I'm going to go drive this thing. Well, I fired it up and started racing in it, and then realized that that I didn't like how the pedal felt. So that's why I tore it apart. And then I haven't got back to it since I put it back together because I got to hook back up to the PC and recalibrate it and all this other stuff. And so I didn't get back to it.
Yep.
But Forza 6 fucking amazing. And I pre-ordered Forza Horizon 3. So I think that is coming out, I believe, in September. So that's going to be great. And then I also pre-ordered NBA 2K17 with Kobe Bryant on the cover.
Nice.
Because I'm a Kobe fan. And then that got me thinking that I was like, oh shit, they did an NBA 2K11. They had a Michael Jordan version with Jordan challenges, and it's always a biatch to get the license from Jordan to do anything.
Right.
So I went digging through my PS3 games and realized that I don't have that copy anymore. So I went to like 800 GameStops to find a boxed version of the PS3 NBA 2K11 for $4.99. You would be amazed at how impossible it is to find older games like that with the original packaging at GameStop, but I ended up finding one.
No, I think anybody that's ever been to GameStop wouldn't be that amazed.
Yeah.
Right?
So yeah, I mean, that was kind of my week.
The price is right on that too, $4.99.
$5, yeah, I can't beat that. So yeah, that was kind of my week in a nutshell. But yeah, so anyway, I should have coming in August. I'll be finishing up the first 2 years of my college, and I'll be extending it into my bachelor's degree. But I took on more work than I should have immediately after my daughter was born, just so I could get to graduation, get that first 2 years knocked out. And so I think I'm going to take off a month and a half to kind of let life reset a little bit before I go back to school. So hopefully in that 6 weeks, I'll have more time to do some gaming and kind of hit reset for a minute.
Oh yeah, totally.
So, yeah, I was debating because I was like, I should probably just keep keep my nose to the grind, but kid life, kind of go, I want to take some of this in and kind of appreciate everything right now before I go back to school. So I think I'm going to take those 6 weeks off and then play a bunch of games.
Right on. Well, it's hard too. I mean, stuff goes fast at that point too. Like I'm almost at the year point with my kid, and I'm like, jeez, man, I can't believe it. So the rest of your life will apparently go by in a blink of an eye. So you better get some gaming in while you still can before you're an old man and can't move your hands anymore.
That's what they say.
But yeah. So just another thing real quick, and kind of a side note here, unless you had anything you wanted to add to that.
No, one other thing.
Go ahead.
So on the Serial at Night, just an FYI, I've done a few podcasts on the audio aspect of things. And so I've got those headphones sitting around. And for anybody that's interested in middle to high-end audio reproduction in the headphone variety, my buddy who does headphones and builds amps, I mean, he's a mastermind. He will be coming over to help me put together an amp, and then we're going to do some listening sessions and kind of podcast about audio and headphones specifically. If anybody's interested, that'll probably be late August.
Cool.
And speaking of soldering, I think we do have a topic to hit on briefly, unless you had somewhere you were headed.
No, go ahead.
We've got, Ben Heck got his other video out there.
Oh, yeah. That's right. We were talking about part 1 last week.
Yeah, so part 1 of Ben Heck got his hands on the Nintendo PlayStation, essentially. Part 2 came out on the 22nd. I didn't actually see it until right before we started podcasting. And I didn't end up finishing the video, but I skipped around. Man, that guy is good at stuff.
Yeah, right.
But
that's why he's Ben Heck and we're not.
Yeah, so go watch that video. It's fascinating. He spoiler alert, he gets the CD-ROM drive working, but it's just watching him talk about the entire board in a nutshell is just fascinating to me.
Components and everything. I mean, he's pretty much like, this is like a octal buffer, or this is blah blah blah, or some crap like that. And he looks up every single component in the first one, which was interesting. But yeah, dude knows his stuff. Yeah, sure.
It's just funny because too, he's like, so anyway, here's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, everything's put together right, but it could have been done better. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean this board up and make it look a hell of a lot nicer than what this one looks like. And then we'll be right. Like, I'm like, yeah. And then he shows the board. I'm like, yeah, that looks better.
Well, yeah, because the thing is, too, there are a lot of jumpers on there that they just kind of haphazardly put together for the prototype. Like, you just had like just really quickly soldered. I mean, they weren't poorly soldered, but they were just quickly soldered like jumper wires from like one leg of a IC to like something else. So it really looked like kind of what's the term? Jerry Skrilled?
Yeah, a little Jerry Skrilled, yeah.
So Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, actually, I'm going to check that out as soon as we get done podcasting here today. But yeah, the first one was fascinating, and it didn't sound like in the first one that he would have any trouble, I guess, getting everything. He was like, there's nothing really super special or proprietary about like this compared to the Super NES.
Yeah.
So,
and it looked like a lot of the components were like components that ended up eventually making it into the PlayStation 1 as far as audio chips, and then some of it was stuff from the SNES, and then it had a CD-ROM drive put onto it. So yeah, it didn't look like it was actually, you know, this crazy thing. It was just kind of a Frankenstein of what ended up becoming the PlayStation 1 hooked up to a Super Nintendo.
Interesting. Well, I'll be checking that out for sure.
So yeah, you'll actually see it in the part 2 when he starts to get into it. You'll see where some of that is, and you're like, oh shit, because he even has a Sony PlayStation 1 sitting there, and he starts to compare some of it. So,
oh, that's pretty cool. I definitely am going to check that out. So, anyway, well, one final thing for me. The only last thing that I forgot to mention earlier was, and then I'm good as far as that goes. But so I had mentioned earlier, and this kind of goes way back to the beginning of our conversation. I'm getting rid of some stuff because, again, I have way too much stuff for like the size of my house. And let me add in too that that original trade deal, like here's one of the big catalysts as to why I started, you know, the gears started turning as well, is because one of the reasons I'm getting rid of some stuff, I'm turning into a hoarder as far as arcade machines go. I feel like almost I'm not attached to any of them emotionally. You know, I really enjoy playing the pinballs right now, but I couldn't really care less about the rest for the most part. But I went to go kind of list some other stuff, like my Outrun machine, because it's just huge and bulky and it takes up too much space. And eventually I'm going to need that space. And then I have an EM pin called Twin Win. I think I've talked about this before. It's the racing themed pinball machine that I have that I got for free like maybe a couple of years ago. It's just been kind of really taking up space in my garage, and I was just going to throw it up for like $200. And my buddy Matt was like, "Oh my God, awesome. I totally am going to buy this from you." So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to take some pictures of it, list it, whatever. I just need this shit out of my house. Took apart the Twin Win, like took the glass off. Every time I take the glass off, because I guess the glass just sucks. The playfield's beautiful on that thing. It's somebody took care of it. I mean, somebody like, first of all, I think it was like 1973 or 1976 or something like that. So it's over 40 years old. The playfield is in fantastic shape. I got plastics that were perfect, practically perfect, because the ones that I had originally were like yellow. It was gross. But somebody clear coated the playfield, everything, and it was just sitting there waiting for me. And I was like, you know, I took some pictures, and I took some pictures of the head I had already restored. I just need to do a stencil on it. And it's a really easy stencil. It's only like red and blue or the other colors besides white. So it's red, white, and blue. But I took the pictures, downloaded them to my computer. I'm like looking at them before I do it. And I was like, I can't get rid of this thing. This thing's freaking awesome. Yeah. And I totally it is just, the theme is cool. And for an EM, it just looks awesome. And it's in amazing shape. So, and especially once I re-stencil it, it'll be like, I don't know about mint, because the playfield's not perfect, but it's pretty damn close to mint for a 40-year-old machine as you can get in original condition. So, I mean, you know, relatively speaking. But anyway, so I totally was inspired to start working on that. I stripped everything down. I'm going to start sanding I guess the rest of it. I'm going to, you know, stencil it eventually here. So I've actually been getting to work on that. And that's when I thought, like, I don't really have space for any more projects. Like I you know, having a kid, I just don't have enough time to do it anymore. If I do have the time, I don't have the ambition right now. So I kind of got to do what I got to do, and I can't really take on more projects. And what's the point of getting rid of the Tron if I'm getting rid of it for space, if I'm more than doubling the space that it was occupying with two project pinball machines, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I am getting rid of stuff, and I'm trying to be picky. I'm getting rid of one of my 5 Daytonas just because 4 Daytonas is spectacular. 5 Daytonas just looks like there's one too many, maybe. And the fact of the matter is, I can't remember the last time I had 4 other people over to play 5-player Daytona. So I'm going to stick with 4 on that. So, anyways, that's just one thing I meant to mention on there as well. So anyway, that was it as far as that goes. I don't know if you had anything to add to that, Mike.
No, nothing to add to that, but I do have a Retro City Rampage DX update.
Go ahead.
So I didn't buy one. I actually just sent you a link. Apparently, they reran another limited print of the PS4 version.
Okay.
And they're limited to 3,000 this time. The first 1,000 got digital copies and some other things, but these are numbered, so you get the PS4 version and also a PSP collector's case. It does not come with a PSP UMD game, but it's pretty cool for $30. So
you get it?
Yeah, I already bought it. And another little cool thing about it was, so I sold those Adele tickets a while ago.
Yep.
And I got $400 for them.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I transferred the money out of my PayPal account, and I wasn't paying attention to my bank statements, and I didn't. So I logged into my bank account and found that sometimes I buy stuff through PayPal and just kind of hit buy. I wasn't looking at my balance. I found that I also have $300 in my PayPal account. So now I just found $300 that I didn't actually think I had.
Damn, dude. You know what you could do with that $300? You could buy the Vita version as well.
I was going there. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, like I said, I can spend your money all day if you want.
I'm going to tell you right now, next time, you know what? Next time I get a buzz, I'll probably do it. But at the end of the day, what it ends up coming down to is the fact that I still have car parts to buy for the Mustang, and I want to do that. But I'll still probably end up getting the Vita version.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. It's like 5 minutes later. So I got a Retro City Rampage DX update. I bought it. God, that didn't take long.
No, it doesn't. Right? It's again... Yeah, it's just like
we talked about that at length before. When we get a buzz, then like a week later, or less than a week later, you're like, "Wow, something's showing up in the mail. I must have bought something."
It happens all the time because
it happens. I think everybody out there that gets a buzz every once in a while can probably attest to doing the same.
Yeah, well, it's
pretty sure that's pretty common.
I'm sure it is. It's always funny too because like Carrie will call, my girlfriend will call, and she'll be like, you got a package. And I'm like, oh shit, what did I order? And then I'm always like, where's it from? And she's like, Amazon. And I'm like, oh cool, I'm gonna sign into Amazon. Oh damn, I bought that. Happy birthday to me.
You're like, I didn't have the guts to do that without alcohol. That's pretty much how my shit goes. I'm always like, if I'm on the fence about something, I'm just like, I need some drinks here, and then I need to quote unquote think about it. No. Then I do it. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna drink a couple beers here, and then we'll kind of see where that goes. Gone.
That's the best.
Anyway, well, let us know how that goes with the Retro City Rampage. I'm
sure I'll have an update next week.
I'm expecting an update next week on the Vita version, and then you know what's going to happen? My ass is going to go and drink a few beers, and I'll have an update the next week.
Well, it's funny too because I like the game. I never did end up beating it, but I'm a sucker for things. And again, it's not collecting as investment's sake. It's collecting on like, I'm gonna want this someday, and right now it's probably
you're so close with your Vita collection anyways, you're gonna need it.
Yeah, I've got a lot of cool stuff on the Vita. I mean, I'm never gonna have all the Vita games because it went real big as far as
like library.
Yeah, the library got big with a lot of the Japanese RPG, the JRPGs and stuff like that. Like, I'm not gonna get all those, but like, when you got a game, like Retro City Rampage, I like, and that's cool, and it's kind of retro, and it's sealed, and it's a limited run. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I kind of want that.
Yeah, I hear you.
So.
Cool, man. Well, that's all I got for this week. Anything you want to add?
No, I got nothing.
All right, cool.
Nothing more.
Right on. Well, we expect to see more updates of our drunken online purchases and all that stuff. It's so easy to do nowadays.
We should almost think of a term for what we call it when we're like drunk shopping.
Yes, that will be the assignment for next week. And also, you know, by the way, comparison, think about like back in the day. What did they do like 20 years ago when they got drunk? Like order shit from magazines or something?
Actually, man, that would have been a mind F. Think about that. You're just hammered and you just fill out one of those cards. Throw in that.
It's like you could barely read. It's barely legible.
Toss it in an envelope and send that bitch out for mail, and all of a sudden, 6 to 12 weeks later, you receive a package. You have no idea you ordered a damn thing.
Your checkbook is like completely thrown off.
Your
or some
balance,
shit.
yeah, the balance in your checkbook is just jacked.
That sounds so old, and like that's totally. I mean, I didn't, you know, back then I didn't drink, but I totally would have. Like that's the kind of stuff that I would have done back in the day. But it sounds so old compared to now.
You fire up the old rotary phone. You're just hammered, and it takes you about 87 minutes to dial it.
By the way, that reminds me again. I'm sorry. I thought I was out of stuff to say. Apparently not. You just reminded me on that. So the trade with the dude. Super, super nice guy. So I'm not ripping on this guy. Like he was very, very like a really nice guy, and he's very understanding when I told him I wasn't going to do the trade. But he was going to take pictures of the kiss and the Playboy for me, and he's like, I don't have a camera phone. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, what is your what? It's like
you're like, I'm not sure you're like, I'm not sure I understand. You mean you don't have a camera that has a phone? Because everybody has a camera that has a phone.
Like, or a phone that has a camera. Like, that's the thing. It's like, what cell phone do you have that, like, has lasted 20 years or, like, you know, 10 years or something like that?
I want that phone. It's a new collectible. He has no idea, but that phone that he has is worth
like
a
the
mint.
Indestructible phone. Well, that's the thing, because I think they engineered them like that, where they would always just crap out on you in a year, so you'd have to go back and re-sign your contract. But I'm like, does that thing is it like one of those big 80s cell phones that's like as big as your head? And also, does it have like a big rotary dial on it or some shit? Like, what does your cell phone look like? Can you take a picture of that for me too?
Yeah, when you have a chance. Take a picture of that, because I'm actually now more interested in whatever the hell cell phone you have.
I'll trade you the Tron for that.
He's got one of those old Nokias with Snake on it, and he's addicted to Snake.
I know, that's exactly what I would spend so much time, like, when I had to, like, take a crap or something playing Snake on, like, the old phone.
Yeah.
I'd be in there for, like, 10 hours and be like, Mitch, are you dead?
You're like, nah, I'm just playing Snake.
Dude, yeah, it's addicting. So anyway.
Also, one other last update. I ordered Headlander.
Bought the Vita.
No, I did not buy that yet. I ordered Headlander. It's a Double Fine Games game, published by Adult Swim. It's kind of all the rage right now. It's getting a ton of really, really good scores. It's $16 on Steam, $16 on PS4 right now. So I picked that up. I don't even know anything about it. But Chris Johnston from Player One Podcast. Oops, it's a commercial playing on the website. I think he is a producer something on the game. I don't know what he did, but he works at Adult Swim Games. I kept seeing posts about it and was hearing them talk about it on their podcast. And for $16, I was like, F it, I'm going to buy this. And that unlocks in an hour. So I will probably play some Headlander in an hour as well.
Sweet. Awesome.
So we have just, everybody listening still has now got to hear us how we outline our topics for the show. This time we just did it during the show. Tune in next week for updates on Headlander, Retro City Rampage DX for the PlayStation Vita,
the F14 and Pinbot. Maybe I'll end up with those.
F14 and Pinbot. I will probably give an update on something else that I haven't thought of. Who knows? But you've heard a lot of the topics already tonight.
So anyways, with that, this is Mitch.
And this is Mike.
And Mike.
Thank you.
For the retro game.
Do you want? We could do some harmonies.
No, I think that was perfect.
Maybe
I think
maybe sing it out.
Yeah. This is Mitch.
And this is Mike.
For RetroGameFix.com, Retro Jones podcast number 82.
I like where you're going. I like where you're going with that.
So we'll see you next week.
See ya.